So thank you everyone for joining us today for the Kayden Manufacturing Sales Seminar. No, this is not specific to Kayden Manufacturing. It is not even specific to liners and covers. This is just selling in general. And why me? Why am I here? Why am I the guy in front of you talking about this stuff? As you can see from my my humble brag panel over here, my introduction, my smiling face, thanks to my lovely wife Faye for making me look good. I've been at this about 16 years, 10 years of which was running, operating, owning my own business, All American Pool Service. Started from scratch, started with nothing, sunk every penny I had into starting this company, plus borrowed some more company to get some marketing together, some more money to get marketing together. Scary times. A lot of us have been there starting out and being like, oh my God, am I doing, what am I doing here? Am I doing this right? So that company went from a 2-man, 1-van operation to, I sold out to my partner about 5.5 years ago, 6 years ago. That's now like a 10 or 12 van operation with all the guys needed to man all those vans. So I did something right, I hope, along the way. But one of the things that really opened my eyes to me having the experience and knowledge from either taking classes or doing it myself, figuring out what worked, what didn't, was when a guy came up to me in Atlantic City at the Pool and Spa show after one of the classes that I was moderating, which is a fancy term for the guy that gets the speaker's water and introduces them. No, we don't rub their feet afterwards, but I should talk to Pat Cobb about that because I'd like my feet rubbed. Anyway, so he came up to me after one of the classes that he attended, and he said, I'm kind of new to this. I don't know how, he was just starting out or if he had a season or two under his belt, but I'm having a hard time closing my in-ground liner renovation jobs. This is what I charge for my liners. This is what I charge for labor, but my closing ratios, they're not where they need to be. What do you do? How do you sell those jobs? And I said, well, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do it this way. I hand them this, I talk about this. These are all the things that I do that separate us from what everybody else is doing. And if you do that, perhaps it'll work. I don't know. I'm kind of making this up as I go along. And he said, okay, I'm going to do everything that you told me to do. Cool. Didn't think I'd ever see the guy again. Next year, Atlantic City show. The same guy, he finds me, very excited, and he comes to me and says, I did everything you said to do, to the letter, and my closing ratios improved 50%. My closing ratios on big in-ground liner renovation jobs went up 50%. I don't know about you, but I'll take that kind of bump all day, every day. Okay, so maybe I've got something going on here. Don't think that I'm the end-all, be-all expert by any means. The day I have nothing left to learn, I'll be in a wooden box. If anybody has anything to offer, by all means, let's share it with the group. This could be a group effort. So moving along from all this, hey, that's who I am. That's how you can reach out to me. If you want a good laugh, be sure and check out our YouTube channel because our marketing is a little off the wall. But let's get into what we're actually going to do here today. 3 parts. Again, like I said, I'm going to try and put the blinders on and get through this. Part 1, selling the invisible. This is really going to be more for the new guys that are just starting out. The companies that are already established, you've probably already done this. You have a reputation, you have a fleet, you might have a retail store or two. You're known, okay? If you're the Anthony Sylvans or the Blue Havens of the world, you don't need to sell the invisible. People know who you are when you walk in the door. So that's not going to be so much for you, but veterans, stick around because parts 2 and part 3, being a know-it-all, applies to everybody selling anything and making friends. That's when we're really going to get into the nitty-gritty of the person-to-person sales. So moving right along, selling the invisible, man, you gotta fake it till you make it. That's the saying. You need to promote your own vision of the future today. You need to make people think you're this when you're actually, maybe you're just this. But how do we do that? There's tricks to making people think that you are more than what you currently are. Show them a vision of your own future and let them buy into that. So let's first go into what is not selling the invisible. Okay. Yes, that's a nice, white, clean van. Looks to be in pretty good shape. But dude, when you just chuck a couple of, you've got a magnet on your door or a couple little letters, if you're driving down the highway at 65 miles an hour and I'm passing you at 65 miles an hour, that's a combined speed of 130 miles an hour. I have no idea. I cannot read who you are, what you do. You could be the best, electrical contractor. He could be the best electrical contractor in the world. I have no idea because I can't see it. I don't know what his phone number is. I don't know how to contact him. I don't know why he bothered wasting his money. The only way I'll ever see that is if it parked somewhere, and chances are a white van is not going to draw my attention except for like stranger danger, free candy. No, run away. So this is not selling the invisible. Oh, let's not zoom in. Another way that we're not selling the invisible, I swear to God, if any of you guys are out there doing quotes like this, I will reach through the screen right now and slap you so hard. You do not tear off, yeah, here's your liner quote, give me a call. This is not how professionals do business. I had, about 2 years ago, I was refinancing my house, needed new siding and new windows. So I had a myriad of contractors coming, for those who actually bothered to call back, coming to my home to give me quotes. I had the obvious salesman who's coming there with the clipboard and like, okay, siding, yeah, check, and windows, check, and you're definitely gonna need a new roof, and check, and we're gonna move the house to the left about 3 feet. It's $100,000. I'm like, whoa, pump the brakes, Mr. Salesman. Do you even know anything about windows and siding? No, clearly you don't. You're here for the commission. Then at the other end of the spectrum, I had the guy that showed up like late after dark in his personal car with his girlfriend, and you know, he's coming, walks around the house real quick and scribbles something on a piece of paper and is like, here you go, and like, you know, give me a call. I'm like, not calling you, man. We need to be somewhere in the middle. Don't be the pushy salesman. Don't be the guy that doesn't know what the heck he's doing. We need to be something else. So we're going to start with selling the invisible, getting people to recognize you as an entity that you might not be, and getting them on board. It's going to start with advertising, your public presence. Luckily for you newer guys, us old guys like me, we used to have to do this thing called Yellow Pages. Oh, God. It was so friggin' expensive. And, okay, this Yellow Pages is for this county, and this other Yellow Pages is for that county, and that other Yellow Pages is half of this county and part of this place. And so, oh, my God, I'm advertising in areas I don't want to be in, and it's costing me thousands of dollars a month. Luckily today, social media, Facebook, man, that is where the marketing is happening. But your website, you need to, whatever your brand is, whatever industry you're in, you need some kind of clout. You need something that's going to show people that you are taking a part in your own industry, that your members, you know, Pool and Hot Tub Alliance, here we go. No, I'm not being endorsed by the PHTA to get people to sign up, but that is some kind of clout. Whether people look at that and go, oh, okay, yeah, I definitely want to hire them because they're a member of PHTA, or they just see these logos on your website in the back of their mind, it's establishing you as a credible entity, a professional entity that they want to work with. PHTA is an easy one, obviously in our industry. And as licensing comes more and more upon us, this is who we need to be working with, because that's what it's all going to be based on. Better Business Bureau, no-brainer, super easy one. NFIB, ICCC, that, you know, okay, whatever, they're recognizable logos, how important they are actually to us, maybe, you know, whatever. Things like Angie's List, okay, you got to pay to get those leads, and if you're good at it and you get good ratings, you get some shields and stuff, and that's cool. But it's kind of depends on the area, whether that's a little bit of a crapshoot. Places like American Home Shield, though. Chris Leitenberg, thanks for joining us, Chris. Chris is a long time educator for PHTA. Just that the PHTA has a code of ethics that can be presented to lend credibility to your company. This is all good stuff. We're gonna dive into this more and more. I'm just starting to scratch the surface now. But thank you, Chris. American Home Shield, I did work for them, and other, they might not even be called that now, but home warranty companies. They will send you work free of charge. You do not have to pay for the leads like you do with Angie's List. A lot of times I found it was almost always heater work, and I'd go to these rusted out Hulks and just be like, dude, this has got to get replaced. There's no fixing this. But be prepared. You need to know how to actually fix stuff if you're going to work with a warranty company. But here's one of the cool things. When you get on board with a place like American Home Shield, they require, and it was like $50 back when I did it, 15, 16 years ago, to get background checks. Now you can put on your website, on your Facebook page, I mentioned it in a TV commercial we did for All American years ago, that our technicians had gone through rigorous background checks, that there was a security there. We're going to people's homes. We're going into their homes. We're meeting with their families, their children. They don't know us. Now they've got some information. So, okay, these guys have gone through background checks. They're not fly-by-night hooligans, scoping my case in the joint, trying to figure out when I'm home and when I'm not. So things like this will just lend credibility to who we are. To get us started, we got to start somewhere. Like I said, the veterans, you've already done this stuff. Just bear with me. We'll get through it and keep moving on. Your service area. This is important, especially if you're just starting up. You need a finite service area. I'm just using Florida in this case. We could say that the blue area is your standard service area, meaning you do not charge anything extra to go. If you're based in Orlando, you'll go these distances without charging a travel surcharge. But if I'm going to get into these red areas here that are blocked off, that's kind of far. And depending on the job, I may or may not go. But if I go, I have to charge you something extra. That's more the business side of thing, not selling the invisible yet. But the key here is go through that service area, list or count up. You don't have to list them, but count up the number of counties or cities or zip codes that you service, and brag about that. We service 300 zip codes, whatever. They could be tiny little areas. Who knows? It doesn't matter. Nobody's gonna do the homework on how many zip codes are in your service area. But tally it up, brag about it. Roughly figure out the square mileage of your total service area, including the extended service area that you will charge extra to go to. However many square miles that is, brag about that on your website, brag about it on social media, brag about it on your Facebook page. Servicing 200 square miles, it just makes you sound like, boom, here we are, folks. This is who we are. This is what we're doing. Even though we're two guys in one van, we're just kind of starting out. Okay, there's a numbers sort of game that you're playing here, but it is establishing you as a reputable, established company, even though you're not. God's honest truth, I started All American Pool Service with not even 6 months of experience under my belt. Luckily, my partner had the experience. I was learning as I was going, but guess what? I was the guy answering the phones. Whew. Talk about trial by fire. You can do this. One of the cool things about this, the way marketing and advertising is working now almost predominantly online, is that if you have this service area set and you know your list of zip codes, boom, you know exactly where your Facebook marketing is landing, your SEO, any of that stuff. You're not wasting money outside of your service area at all, like I used to have to do. Congratulations, lucky you. Service area. So these are guys, hello, Will. These are guys that are selling the invisible. Maybe not so much anymore because they don't need to, but in the beginning, this is where it started. I'm going to use my alma mater here, All American Pool Service, a lot because that was where I cut my teeth. That's where I learned to do a lot of this stuff. That's where I figured out what I was doing right, what I was doing wrong. But obviously, other companies have done the same. Credible Pools here. Hey, Todd. They invested a lot of money in a Cybertruck and fully wrapping it. That ain't cheap. But man, every time they drive somewhere in this vehicle, it's going to turn heads. Lima's this is the pickup truck version of their bigger vans, kind of like how All American had the minivan versions of the big tech vans. But they all look the same. Your fleet all looks the same. This was Nuri's first van. He might have more now. This was a few years ago he sent me this picture. But every time you see this van, you remember it. Every time you see any of these vehicles, you remember it. So in the beginning, this van right here, AAPS 11, as we called it, that was our one van. And these two jokers right here, Ken and Jim, were the guys driving that van all over Sussex County, New Jersey, Orange County, New York. And people would tell me, they would tell us all the time, man, you guys must be huge. I see your vans everywhere. I just sold you the invisible, okay? You saw that one van, and every time you saw it, because, as our attorney said, it just shouts, read me, you remember it. You think we are bigger than we actually are. Little trick, guys. If you'll notice, it's kind of blurry here. I'll zoom in a little bit. This van, the number on this bumper says AAPS 12. This one says AAPS 22. That one says 13. That one says 11. This one over here says 12. Those numbers are on the front and the backs of those bumpers. It's a psychological little thing, but there's multiple reasons for it. That's our fleet. The APS 11 is not the 11th van. It is Fleet 1, Van 1. And when we're running to our vans in the morning, got to get something out of it. I know which van to run to. It's numbered. But Fleet 1, Van 1 looks like van number 11 to the uninitiated. Fleet 2, Van 2 looks like van number 22 to people who don't know our system. Oh my God, did you see All American? They've got over 22 vans out there. Our local competition, although I didn't really have competition, I was friendly with everybody, which I highly recommend we all do. They must have been freaking out. Oh my God, All American is just exploding on the scene with 24 vans. What am I going to do? We are selling the invisible. If you'll notice, bright colors on these vans, big, bold block letters, not magnets on the doors that are just going to blow by and you're not going to see. Funny stories, if we can zoom in here on the hood. All American Pool Service is backwards. Yes, that was intentional, but when people would point it out, I'd go, what? Oh my God, I can't believe they did that. There's a reason. If you've ever had an ambulance behind you, it says ambulance backwards on the hood, so when you are looking in your rearview mirror, you can read it. So every time we're behind somebody, they can read All American Pool Service. Credible mention, biggest problem is always the farthest away, or Chris Leitenberg. Yeah, going back to the service area, as Chris mentioned, I didn't see the message come in until now. One of the key features of this service area is these lines of demarcation. They have to be somewhere, and if somebody is just on the other side and they call it, oh, but I'm just over there. I understand that, but that line has to be somewhere. I can't move it every time somebody calls, or I'm losing money. That's more a business side of things more than selling the invisible. But this is, if you have one van, make it memorable. So every time people see it, they assume they're seeing another one of your vans. You're selling the invisible. If you'll notice, the guys all standing here like nice white shirts, matching shirts. We get into the uniforms, okay? Oh, and by the way, before I get there, little trick. Most pool guys are not too busy in the wintertime. What do we normally do with these vans? We park them until the spring. You're wasting your money. Each one of these vans back then, I don't know what they cost now, were costing me like $2,000 to wrap. This is a drivable billboard. I need to get that billboard in front of people constantly. Obviously in the neighborhoods, sure, but over the winter, take the time to drive them to local grocery stores, shopping malls, movie theaters, places where there's people coming and going constantly, and just park it. Leave it there all day, all weekend, all week. Our vans, we'd put them in front of the Acme grocery store for like weeks. We'd just leave it there with like some business cards and a little business card holder. And people would say, oh yeah, I saw you guys over at the grocery store. I figured I'd give you a call. Get them out there. It's your billboard. Keep putting it to use even when you're not working. On the weekends when we're slow and you're not working, but you got to run some errands, don't use your personal car. Jump in a company van, drive it around, keep it on the road, keep it visible, keep it in front of people. Make them see them coming and go. Boy, All American and Incredible and Lemus and Kurt Customs, they're busy. I see them always coming and going. Yep, that's the invisible. I'm selling more of it. Chris is saying especially in February and March, right at the end of winter when people are, there's a time when we get a lot of tire kicking phone calls, and I equate that to, yeah, it's the end of winter, so pool season's on the horizon, but they've also just filed their taxes. And they're thinking, okay, maybe this is the year we use the tax return and we fix the pool. Let's start calling around for some estimates, get some ideas, kick some tires. Maybe we're serious, maybe we're not, who knows? But if you're getting those vans out there in those parking lots where they're going to the grocery store a couple times a week, you know, they're going here and there, they're going around their town. If the van's always there and they're at that point where it's time to start calling around and getting those quotes, be in front of them. End of winter is the time to really, really drive that home. Thanks for that point. And cabin fever, right, Chris? People getting out. So your uniforms, obviously when you show up, you want your guys looking like they are a crew, that they are professional. It does a couple of things. One, it establishes that you are professional, you are legitimate, but there is a security to that. You're not showing up with guys you picked up on the corner at Home Depot that morning that you don't know from Adam. These guys, they've been trained. They know what they're doing. If you notice on our website, God, and this is going way back, Certified Pool Professional, APSP, CPO, NSPF, those are initials from years and years ago. But use your website, use your Facebook page, is vital to establishing who you are, what you specialize in. Ken and Jim, here we are if you notice, we are the field foreman. Ken's the field foreman for the New York service area. Jim is the field foreman for New Jersey. Yeah, we're also the owners. But I don't necessarily want Joe homeowner to know that Jim is the owner, the guy coming to your house to do the quote for you, because now Joe's like, oh yeah, Jim, I'm going to need you to sharpen that pencil. I'm going to need that best price. I'm going to haggle. No, Joe, I'm not here to haggle. I'm here to do the job that I'm telling you I'm going to do for the price I'm going to do it at. I am the field foreman. As our relationship develops and they become a regular customer year after year after year, okay, cat might get out of the bag that I am the homeowner, but initially I really don't want to put that out there. Within the industry, with my industry peers, yeah, I want them to know I'm the owner. I'm the guy to talk to. But with the customers, I just need them to know that I'm the guy in charge of their area. But throw up, listen to me. Get images of your crew on your website. People can see who you are before you show up. There's a security there. I can't emphasize this enough. One of the things we always did with All American was every August, because we're slow, we would have our company picnic. It was free. Everybody come out, eat, play. We're going to have a great time. We're going to go swimming. But everybody bring a clean All-American Pool Service shirt and a clean pair of the navy blue shorts that I issue you. And we're going to wash the vans. That's going to be part of the party. We're going to wash all the vans, and we're going to pose for a bunch of photos, and we're going to update the website. I highly recommend that as your company grows, you get it's great for camaraderie, company picnic, company party, whatever. Do this. Clean. Even if the guys don't have clean shirts, bring them clean shirts. Okay, the money you're going to spend on everybody looking clean and professional will pay off in dividends down the road. But get them all together, everybody smiling, having a good time, and as the company grows, and you can even document it on your website, on your Facebook page. This was 2024, our company picnic. This was 2025. You can see we're growing. You're establishing that you know what you're doing. Your reputation is stellar. When you get to, now that you've done all this advertising, establishing virtually who you are, the homeowner saying, yes, I want to call Pools Are Fun, because I see their vans everywhere. I've been to their website. I've been to their Facebook page. They look legit. They're guys, I've seen some of their technicians. I know they do background checks. These guys sound great. All right. So you should, when they call you, say, hey, I've got a 20 by 40. I need a new liner. What are we used to in 2024 now? We're used to everything being Amazon. Scroll, add to cart, pay now. 10 minutes later, a drone is dropping it off on my doorstep. That's what we're up against. That's the mentality of consumers today, is that it happens right now. When they call you on the phone and say, I've got a this and that, and I need a price on it, don't go, okay, let me talk to my supplier and I'll get back to you. Nope. That's not how you do it. Every winter, your supplier, whether it's distributors or if you're buying dealer direct, they're going to get you your pricing for that year, provided it's not COVID and we're going through price increases in the middle of the year. That's your pricing for the year. You need to go through that list and figure out what, if you're doing liners, what's a 1632, what's an 1836, what's a 20 by 40, what's a this, what's a that, what's the liner over step. If I'm doing, whatever it is, liners, covers, heaters, pumps, filters, chemicals, all your pricing needs to be in place before your season kicks off, and it should be printed in a book in each one of your service vans and at each one of your counters at your retail locations, because that book is the Word of God. Okay, there is power in the printed word. Not only are you able to, and when the customer calls, flip, they can hear you flipping through the pages, you're scrolling down, okay, a 20 by 40, a liner is this much, the labor is this much, here's the details on it, boom, like they just got Amazoned. You just wowed them with your Amazon ability to take care of their needs immediately. Now when they go beyond the tire kicking and they want to commit to you actually coming out and doing a quote, and guys, please, especially when you're new, don't waste your time driving to everybody who's wanting to kick tires to give them a quote. You'll find, and this is, I could do a class on this alone. When people call up, who's kicking tires and who's actually interested in moving forward? Those are the people that we want to get, because if you're driving an hour to do an estimate that you weren't going to get no matter what, you've got better things to do with your time. When you show up with all your pricing in a book, you can get a binder, print the stuff out and slide it in the sheet protectors. There's even nicer things that actually look more like a book that have built-in sheet protectors. That's what I always used. I put the year on it, and here was a trick that I kind of figured out by accident. Let's say this is 2024, if this was the beginning of the season, and I go to somebody's home to quote them a price, and yeah, all my pricing is in place, but dummy, I forgot to print the new cover. I forgot to update. It still says 2023 on the cover of the price book. Well, guess what, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner? I'm going to get you 2023 pricing because we're not fully set up yet with our 2024 pricing. I'm going to do that for you. I'm going to hold that for you. Okay, that's a little goofy, but it was a mistake I made once, and it got me the job. Like, oh, okay, great, thanks. That's great. Okay, whatever it takes. But the prices are printed in that book. Haggling has now come way down because they know you're not making the price up on the spot. There's a sense of security when you give them that price, that it's not based on the area they live in, the size of the house, oh, that's a nice car. What is that, a Jaguar? Okay, your price just went up. No, it's no matter where you go, the price is the price is the price. You've established it. You're not the owner, and the price is printed in the book. Haggling is now coming off the table. There's still people that are going to try, and we'll address those issues down the road. But I cannot recommend this enough for a myriad of reasons. It establishes so much credibility and nips a lot of other issues right in the bud. So when it comes to actually doing the quotes, and this was where that guy that I met in Atlantic City, this is what I told him we did. I said, okay, every one of our vans has a laptop in it. Now, today, there's no wow factor in that anymore, but 15 years ago, a service van having a laptop and a thermal printer right there on the dashboard, and I could print out estimates and invoices and quotes and waivers and things right out of QuickBook with our logos on it, my CSP logo and my CPO logo and all that. Everything's itemized and broken down, super detailed, and I could hand that right to the customer from my van. They went, wow, the last guy that was here handed me this. Okay, we're running circles around this joker. But it doesn't just end there. You need to, we're not here to sell on price. Never, ever, ever sell on price, and don't ever price yourself according to what your competition is charging. You don't know what corners they're cutting to come in at that price, and that will put you out of business quicker than anything else. Okay, your price is your price, and it's there for a reason. But how do we separate our quote from everybody else's, especially if these people are really out there kicking tires and they've spoken to everybody in town and then some? So you've got a clear estimate that has your logo on it. All your credibility is on there, clearly stated. In each state, there are a mandated list. I'm no New Jersey, so we can talk New Jersey, but in your state, you need to look into this. As a home improvement contractor in the state of New Jersey, there's a punch list of things that have to be on every one of my estimates, every one of my contracts, to keep me from getting sued. If one thing is not, if I didn't put a completion date on my contract and it's signed and they've made a deposit, boom, I can be sued for triple damages, open and shut case, next. Okay, you need to look into getting that list. That's not what we're here to talk about today. That's a whole other class. But know what has to be on your contract. Make sure it's on your contract, and we're going to get into a little bit more how that's going to benefit us down the road when we get to objection handling. But do a very clear, specific, broken down, itemized, line-by-line estimate so they know exactly what you're talking about, what they're going to get as far as the materials that you're installing, what the labor is going to do, what your warranties are. You should have, whatever you're selling, you should have samples of the warranty. At Kayden Manufacturing, we have samples of our liner warranties. We have samples of our cover warranties. We send them out. If you don't have them, ask me. I will send them to you. When you're doing a liner estimate, you should have the Kayden liner warranty there with it. Give it to them. They didn't ask for it. Just give it to them. Your warranty needs to be clearly stated, printed out. That needs to be another rider on the contract. Unforeseen groundwater issues, rusty wall issues, dead deer in the pool issue, any issues that, unforeseen issues that could arise, that all needs to be addressed and in writing as part of this package deal. If you're doing renovation work or especially building, if you're building a pool, the homeowner can and should request a certificate of additionally insured from you. Meaning you go to your insurance agent, you give them the homeowner's name and address, they print out a thing that basically says if anything goes wrong, they're covered. They're cool. It's a peace of mind thing. I don't know the insurance stuff so much, but I know that they can request that. So instead of waiting for them to request it, no, I do not talk to my insurance agent every time I go to do a quote, but I hand them what was a certificate of additionally insured for, say, American Home Shield. And I show them what their certificate of additionally insured would look like. My $2 million general liability policy, my $1 million auto policy, my workers' comp policy. Yes, I carry workers' comp because I'm not picking up guys on the corner at Home Depot every morning to come do the work. I have an established team. So there's coverage. Just they can request it. Don't even wait for them to request it. Hand it to them. Your business license, your authority to collect sales tax on the behalf of the state that you're in. Print it out. Put it on. I always had sheets, a double-sided sheet that had all that stuff printed on it, and it went with every estimate that I handed out, along with the brochure. If you're doing a liner, your liner brochure. If you're doing a cover brochure. If you're selling a heater, I'm sure there's a brochure for that heater. Hand them a packet of information, not a scrap of paper with something scribbled on it. Wow them with the physical estimate that you're handing them. And if you've got the feeling that this is not a tire kicker, which is why we're here, we're not even considering going to the homes of people who are just joking around. Walk up to them with that estimate in hand. And if you're doing a liner job, with your vinyl samples in hand. If you're doing a cover job, your cover sample. Walk up to them as if they already said, yes, I want to do the job. Okay, here's the samples we're going to look at. Just go there. Don't wait for them to think about it. Just go there. You take them there. Take them by the hand and walk them to the promised land of a much nicer looking pool. All right? It's a little bit of extra work, but that is what this guy that I met in Atlantic City, he did this. He practiced this. He went on eBay, just like I told him, bought a whole bunch of refurbished Dell laptops, super cheap. Got the printer was a little bit more money. The thermal printer back then was like $300. It's like an old fax machine that actually prints with heat, so you don't need ink. It'll work hot or cold in the vans. It's a great little thing to have, but everything prints out right there in the van. These days, you can kind of do tablets and show them stuff, email it to them. I know my buddy Will there at Lemus does a lot of that stuff, all the high-tech stuff, and people appreciate that. Little things like that you're doing that the other companies haven't caught up with yet is going to set you apart. Okay, whether you're more money or not, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're talking about closing the job without even talking about the dollar price. All right. As you get some jobs under your belt, every renovation job that you do, you need to be collecting before, during, and after photos. Okay, your before photos need to be atrocious. Stuff on the deck, trash, pieces, tools, bare feet. It needs to look just a god-awful disaster. Your after photos, you might even need to go in and Photoshop them to make sure the landscaping looks good. Clean up the deck, spray the deck down, make sure everything looks like a professionally taken photo. So there's that much more wow factor to your before and your after, because these are all going on your Facebook page. They're going on your website. They're going to Instagram. You're dropping this everywhere that you can on social media, but here is something vital. If you just post up a before and an after, anybody can go to your website and, oh, that's a good looking, click, click, click. Yeah, I'm going to put that on my website now. You need to shut that down. Watermarks of your company logo, we'll do something along those lines, but those can be cropped out to a certain extent. But if I didn't have an example of it. This was taken from All American. This was one of the first zip steps I ever installed. God, 15 years ago. There was a series of during photos that I fanned out across between these two images here, like playing cards, of my partner Ken in an All American Pool Service shirt. I made sure the back of his shirt was clearly visible in every photo of him assembling and installing the steps and running the foam, putting the liner over it. So there was no doubt in the homeowner or the potential customer's mind who it was that actually did that work and how good it looked when it was done. Okay, these are tricks to, as you get up and running, you get established, you need to make sure people know that, yeah, I'm that good. Okay, give me a call. That kind of wraps up selling the invisible. It's kind of baby steps. Everything is a stepping stone to the next big thing. But the idea is to make yourself appear bigger than you actually are. In January 2008 was the first year that All American Pool Service was officially out into the world. We got established in 2007. Went to work in 2008. We showed up at the Atlantic City Pool and Spa Show the end of January that year, wearing matching collared shirts with our logo on the left chest, matching navy blue EMT pants. We had very nice navy blue game jackets with 250,000 stitches of embroidery on the back of each jacket. That made each jacket $250. That's an expensive jacket. But that full color logo with our phone numbers across the butt, people looked at us, didn't know us from Adam. We're just showing up. A couple jokers just got here, don't know what we're doing yet. And people said, man, you look like the pool police. You guys are legit. We would walk past booths, and I heard somebody going, hey, I smell money. Go talk to those guys. They thought, like, look at them. They must be huge. Look at those jackets. They're wearing uniforms. I had never even closed the pool yet. I'd never installed an in-ground line. I didn't know what I was doing yet. I was just selling the invisible and riding on my partner's coattails who knew how to do that kind of stuff, but I'm still taking classes. I'm learning as I go. That is a perfect example. Jeff Kayden met me that year and was like, oh yeah, I want to get on board with these guys. How many liners a year did you? Oh, we do 300 liners a year. Okay, cool. Okay, we never did 300 liners a year. But that's the invisible that I sold to everybody at that show. And within the industry, it got us recognized. With the homeowners, it gets us recognized. You need to kind of pretend to be something you're not, but what you're doing is showing the homeowners, showing the world a glimpse of your future. We're just not there yet. Make them think you are. Any questions before we move to section 2? I know. Thanks, Chris, for chiming in with some of these points over here. But we're going on to section 2 about being a know-it-all. For those who are going to Atlantic City this year and have not attended Vinylology 101, I do believe it's Thursday morning at 8 o'clock or 8:30. It's the first class of Thursday. Vinylology 101, the more you know, the more you'll sell. That is specific to vinyl liners. What we're talking about here right now is not specific to any brand or any product. It's the techniques. But learn all there is to know about what you do, and you will make yourself indispensable. Being a jack of all trades comes in handy, but then you're a master of none. If you are the master of what you do, why would anybody talk to anybody else? They want to be with the smartest guy in the room. And if you are the smartest guy in the room, you are who they're going to talk to. You need to know everything there is to know. If it's liners, that's what I specialize in. If it's installing heaters, if it's chemistry, whatever it is, know everything. Become like a sponge and just absorb all you can. So as you are talking with a potential, a client, a homeowner, you can drop these bits of little information on them as you're going, not to come off like a know-it-all. Nobody really likes that guy, but do it subtly, in a manner that in the back of their mind they're going, wow, this guy really knows his stuff. I think this is who we want to work with. He's answering questions in ways that nobody else was answering them, and he's offering information that I didn't even know I needed to know. So be a know-it-all. How do we get there? You already saw this screen. This was my humble brag know-it-all screen to you to establish in your mind, for those who don't really know me, many of you have known me for years. For those who don't know me, I need to establish that I am the perceived authority on what we're about to talk about. I need your attention. If you don't think I know what I'm talking about, why would you listen to anything I have to say? Immediately, I'm dropping 12 initials after my name. What are they? Certified service professional, certified pool operator, certified pool inspector, certified staying specialist. Okay, the latter 9 you could probably light on fire and nobody would really care or notice. CSP, yeah, that took me like 3 years and a lot of money to get, and the binder for a level 3 was like 4 inches thick. The section on chemistry was 180 pages. What I'm doing is I'm establishing myself as a pool know-it-all without saying a single word. I'm throwing some clout down here. 10 years, I owned and operated a successful company. So what I'm about to tell you, it's got clout. It's got meaning. You can stand behind it. You can believe it. But almost more importantly than all of that is my ugly mug. My professional wife, professional photographer wife, knows how to do the lighting, knows that this is clearly not one of those cheesy prom glamour shots. Don't use those because they're cheesy prom glamour shots. But get a good photo of yourself with a subtle smile, not a stupid grin, a friendly smile with a little twinkle in your eye. That's the lighting does a lot for that, and put it out there. Put that on everything. This, this is in my. We're going to where I put all this stuff, but establish yourself as a friendly face. Okay, studies have shown that people tend to like people that they think subconsciously are attractive. Male, female, it's not a sexual thing. It's just, that's an attractive person. I'm kind of drawn to them. I kind of like them more. And when you like somebody, that's the first step towards trusting them. We need to earn the trust if we're going to sell a big, could be a pool installation, $100,000 job to somebody. They got to trust us. We've got to start somewhere to get them liking us. Well, Jim, I happen to be born in the ugly tree and I fell out and hit every branch on the way down. Nobody's going to look at me and think I'm attractive. What can I do? Going back to the appearance, the clean, the uniform, looking professional, having that well-kept look. Don't show up looking disheveled, although in the pool industry we're the only guys that can show up barefoot in a bathing suit, and the homeowner's like, yeah, you look like a pool pro, come on in. Great, where do I sign up? I want that job. There are things that you can do to make yourself perceived as more attractive, one of which is that smile. Believe it or not, when we smile, in the back of people's minds, we just got more attractive. Again, this is not, I'm not speaking like male, female, or whatever, interactions there. It's just a thing. It's just human nature. But it also, that smile breaks down barriers that might have been automatic. Oh, this guy's here to sell me something, but he's coming at me with a nice smile. He looks like a nice guy. That barrier just came down a little bit. Believe it or not, again, going to studies that I've read about, when you smile, you talk differently. And subconsciously, we can hear that. We can pick up on that as human beings. We don't know we do, but we do. So when that phone rings and somebody's calling for a quote or for anything, pick up the phone and smile before you start talking. They will hear that smile in your voice, and that will help bring down some barriers. They haven't seen you. They don't know if you're attractive, but you're developing a comfort level with them, whether it's face-to-face or whether it's over the phone. One of the tricks that I used to do, I don't have them on now, but going along with the selling the invisible is, how do I make myself appear to be smarter? Okay, we talked about learning all you can, that vinylology class, learning like, how are liners made, how is vinyl made? I'm going to talk about the additives, I'm going to talk about the color of water and things that like nobody else was talking to them when they're doing the quotes. But how do I just show up looking smarter? If you wear glasses for any reason, reading or like I do for distance, or I just need them for driving or for watching a movie or something, put them on. I don't know if it's that old four eyes bookworm, misnomer, whatever. You just got smarter. Your IQ just went up a little bit in the back of their mind because you're wearing glasses. Silly, I know, but little things like that actually make a difference in how you are perceived. So this is my humble brag page. You better believe every email that I send out, my business card, anywhere that I can put these initials after my name, so long as they fit. It's not so important what the initials are. It's the fact that I spent the time to earn them. So I gained the knowledge, but I'm also invested in what it is that I do, which means I'm the right guy for the job for what it is that you need. All right. My face, again, public face of the company. You walk past me in Atlantic City. We've never actually met face to face, but you've seen my picture freaking everywhere, and you're sick of looking at it. But when you walk past me, like, hey, it's Jim the pool guy from Kayden Manufacturing. It's nice to meet you. Okay, establish yourself, make yourself known, make yourself visible. If I could put the face on the business card, I would, but that would be maybe a little too much humble bragging. It's just get yourself out there. Credentials. Everything is a stepping stone. Again, I'm going to go back to what I've done because that's what worked for the company that I built. And this is what I want you guys to do is build yourselves, build your reputation, build your company. Everything is a stepping stone to bigger and bigger things. In 2014, because of all the classes that Ken and I and all the All-American crew, we attended and moderated, which if you don't know what moderating is, get in with NESPA if you're in the Northeast, if you're in another part of the country, whatever your chapter of the PHTA is, when they have their big gathering, look into helping out. Be a part of the community, be a part of the industry, be recognized within the industry. That will actually, it might not happen tomorrow or next year, but just being a known entity within the industry is going to help you succeed down the road. And here's a good example. We attended classes, we moderated classes. I was the guy introducing the speakers. I was getting to know the speakers through tech classes and then later business classes. That information alone, that personal connection. Brett Abbott teaches classes very similar to this, marketing and selling for big jobs like pool installations. We're buddies on Facebook now because I moderated several of his classes. He's a base, I'm a base. We talked about that. We establish yourself within the industry, not just with your homeowners. This article came out in 2014 about being a pool guy as well as a businessman and how education through PHTA and specifically for us, the Northeast Spa and Pool Association, how it helped All-American grow and improve. That article from 2014 was a stepping stone to appearing on Dom's podcast in like 2020. Okay, what a crazy episode this was. If anybody wants the link to that, reach out to me and I'll get it for you. From punk to pools. Yeah, we talked about my background being the tour manager, i.e. babysitter for grown men for a band called the Misfits, a legendary punk band. My stint with pro wrestling, all my cosplay years. Those who know me personally know I've done some pretty crazy stuff in my life. I'm now just an old guy behind a desk trying to push vinyl. But the article was a stepping stone to the podcast. The podcast became a stepping stone to me now writing articles for the NESPA magazine, The Edge. And this, again, going back to Vinylology 101, the more you know, the more you'll sell. Whether it's heaters, whether it's equipment, whether it's the pool itself. I don't care what you can sell have a nice day shirts. If you know everything there is to know about that product that you are selling, why would anybody turn to anybody else? You're the guy with all the answers. You're the one I want doing the job. Kayden Manufacturing, again, this is not brand specific, but it's just an example. We are looking into becoming a distributor for steel wall pool kits. The idea is, hey, we make liners and covers. If we can sell a full kit with our liner and cover with it, that's where we make our money, is on that. We'll sell the steel at a reduced cost to like really get it out there. Okay, so I need to start selling pool kits. Guess what? I was a service, a repair, and a renovation guy. I did not do installations. I need to learn all I can about building an in-ground pool. Guess who has now scheduled a tour of the International Swimming Pool's steel manufacturing factory, because I want to know what they make, how they make it, why they make it that way, what they do with it, what is needed to do this, that, or the other thing to build a pool. And one of my good friends who luckily bought a house up by us in Warwick, New York, he's going to be putting an in-ground pool in his backyard. I said, Casey, the day you're going to be breaking ground, I want to be there from start to finish. I'll help you out. Not going to pretend I know what I'm doing, but I want to learn everything there is to know about working with the steel, putting the steel together, because if I'm going to sell it, I got to be the guy with all the answers. If you're going to sell it to your homeowner, you got to be the person with all the answers. Make sure you get with the people who have, if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to get out of that room. Go to a different room, find a smarter person, learn all you can from them, and then keep moving on. That's the idea here. But stepping stones. Look at everything as a stepping stone. Relentless self-promotion is something that I have used, going back to the pictures. My picture being everywhere. Well, my credentials being everywhere. For those of you that know me personally, know my history with cosplaying and having traveled around the world as different characters, conducting weddings, DJing, appearing all over YouTube. During the pandemic, memes of me showed up everywhere with one of my post-apocalyptic characters, being featured in documentaries. That was all thanks to me putting myself out there constantly, nonstop. Nobody else is going to promote you unless they're paying good money. Unless you're paying good money for them to do so, you got to do it yourself. So be everything, know everything that you can about what it is you do, and make sure the world knows that you know it. Any questions before we move on? Chris has not chimed in on anything else, so I guess I'm doing it right. Thanks, Chris. Muhammad Ali was truly the greatest. Yeah. Talk about one of the things I enjoy doing on my hour-long commute into the office or on my way home. That's my me time. I'll put on YouTube videos looking at the most successful people in history. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Carnegies, J.P. Morgan. A lot of these people came from nothing, but through perseverance, self-promotion, whatever it was that they did, that's what I want to do. That's the path I want to. Rockefeller did a vertical expansion. Let's do some vertical expansion. Rockefeller, again, not being to be brand specific here, but hey, we're at Kayden. Somebody's got to pay the bills. Rockefeller exploited a rebate program with the railways to move his oil around. And that was a big step to him getting as big as he did. Guess who has a very aggressive rebate program? Kayden Manufacturing. We'll talk about that later. Reach out to me if you don't know. So people ask me, Jim, what do you do for a living? People who don't know me. And instead of saying, oh, well, I'm the director of sales and marketing, technical specialist for a manufacturer, blah, 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 whatever. I mean, okay, yeah, next. Jim, what do you do for a living? I make friends all day. That's what I do. I make friends. Selling is developing relationships, becoming friends with people. You don't need to be BFFs forever. No, you just need to establish a relationship. Why? You don't say no to your friends. Okay, if you do, you're not being a very good friend. So let's start down the journey of getting to know people, the nitty-gritty of sales relationships, and making friends with people. As Chris says, he's a purveyor of happy memories. That's a good way of putting it. My buddy Jay from Everclear has a great quote. It's very long though. I can't quite remember it. So we all know the saying that less is more. And this holds true with so many things, including sales. When I was younger, my mother, who owned a direct mail marketing company, think about like coupons in an envelope, she was the one that sold those and then mailed them out. She wanted me to get into sales. She thought I'd be good for it. So I went to a sales training seminar, and what they taught me was the used car salesman technique. What's it gonna take to get you in this car today? You can't leave here without blah, 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 blah. Oh God, no, I don't want to be that guy. Nobody likes him. He's a clown. Okay. One of the things they taught me was like objection handling. I'm like, if they're objecting to me, I've obviously misstepped. We shouldn't even be at that point. But one of the things was when they say no, I'm actually supposed to say, and by that you mean what? What are you kidding? Don't insult me. By that I mean no. I mean get the hell out of my office. Okay. Don't approach sales to make the sale. Approach selling as a friend, approach selling as a consultant, approach selling as somebody who has ideas and information that you are looking to share with this homeowner, okay? They will come around on the sales because, again, if you're showing up with all this knowledge that nobody else had, you're showing up with a level of professionalism that nobody else could attain, then they're not even looking at the price. They're looking at you to come and do the job. Like Chris is saying, no means you fail to create value. Chris, again, going back to my buddy Chris Leitenberg on the Pool Liner Mafia, he had posted recently that sales is first you sell yourself, then you sell your company, then you sell your product. And by selling, we mean get people to like. Okay, selling is not the drive it, shove it down their throat. Nobody wants to talk to that guy. He's a jerk. We've kind of flipped the order around here. We kind of sold our company first because we got to get people to know who we are before they even call us, to get to know us so we can sell us, and then the product will follow. But when it comes to consulting, I want to tell you a little story about the very first in-ground liner job I ever sold. 2008, early spring in Newton, New Jersey, which is a very old, very cool, like a Victorian home. 1632 pool in the backyard, sand bottom, bit of a disaster. A lot of work needed to be done. Clearly needed the new liner. As I'm talking with the homeowner about the job, putting the quote together, I know, I've learned, because it was really, really grilled into us in 2008, President Bush Jr. had just signed into law the Virginia Graham Baker Pool and Spa Safety Act. And anybody who was anybody in the pool and spa industry, like this was the biggest thing everybody was talking about, was those main drain covers and how somebody could die. Okay, we didn't have the VGB compliant drain covers yet. Vacless and Stingel were like just coming out, like just the new technology, weren't readily available yet. So there was concern. I just mentioned to the homeowner, he said, hey, from one dad to another, I see you got your 7-year-old boy, I've got kids at home myself. I just want you to be aware that there is a new law, there is a new code, this is what it involves, this is what it's about. I'm not trying to sell you anything, I just want you to know. And he said, you know, I had a myriad of other companies come in here and quote this job for me, and nobody said anything about that. He said, I want you guys to do he's like, don't even bother giving me the price. Just come do the work. I want you guys to do the work. That's when the light bulb went off. I'm like, okay, I didn't even he's not even talking about the price. I was his consultant. I was not his salesperson. I landed my first liner job, my first, in my mind, big job back then. This is how I want you approaching sales. I want you to approach it as consulting. You'll be impressed with what your closing ratio has become. A couple of things that I highly recommend, because this is where I'm culling information from. Dale Carnegie, over 80 years ago, he wrote this book. It still applies today. The things I learned from this book, I use without even thinking about them in my day-to-day life, whether it was in sales, whether it's friendships, relationships, family, whatever. This book, just so you know, you can get on audiobook. For those of us that have an hour-long commute or we're driving to jobs far away, get the audiobook, pull it up on your Audible, and when you have some time, just listen to it little bit by little bit. There are little tidbits, like that thing I said about smiling. I learned that from this book. The glasses idea might have actually come from this book as well. But this was something I just saw on Amazon, so I felt okay to put it up there. Like I said, I don't want to take somebody else's information and hand it to you as hey, this is mine. No, I'm telling you this is where it comes from, and I cannot recommend this book enough. It's very basic. One of the things that they mention in this book, and it's on this list here, is when you're asking the homeowner questions, make sure you ask them questions that will have a positive response, a yes answer. We want to avoid the negative. We don't want to say things like, yeah, no problem. You actually just said 2 negative words when you said no problem. Okay? How about, certainly, I'll take care of it. I'd be happy to take care of that for you. Not no problem, okay? It sounds dumb, I know, but just get in the practice. Be the positive entity that's going to shine above and beyond the other companies that are coming in and don't have that shine. Little things like that we pick up on subconsciously, and it will affect our decision-making process. Another book that I cannot recommend enough, oh my God, again, going back to Atlantic City, and no, I'm not endorsed by NESPA to push their classes, but every year at the show or at the headquarters in Hamilton, and again, if you're not in New Jersey, if you're not in the Northeast, whatever your local chapter is for the PHTA, look into the classes that they offer. I started out taking tech classes until I was fully steeped in all the tech stuff, and then I transitioned over into the business classes, and because I moderated, I got to attend them for free, otherwise I had to pay for them. And this class, Taking Flight is the book. Daniel Silvert was teaching the class, but the class was on team management. I figured, okay, I've got employees. I got to figure out how to wrangle these guys and get out of them what I need. So let me learn about team management. It was all about learning the 4 basic personality types, learning who you are, and then learning how to recognize the other types in other people. So the very first thing that we did was we took a personality profile. Literally took 30 seconds. And from the brief introduction we got, this particular system, Taking Flight, equates the four main different personality types to birds, and it actually makes sense. You can get the Braxton Hicks, or no, that's the pregnancy thing. There's systems that get like really, really, really in depth with the personality profiles. We don't need to do that. That's above and beyond what we're concerned about as far as selling is concerned. We're going to simplify things, and that this is the best example I've seen of simplifying it. I went in there thinking that I was going to be the dominant eagle. I was going to be decisive. I'm competitive. I'm daring. I'm direct. I'm adventurous. I'm a problem solver. I'm results. That is who I thought I was. But I thought that because that's how people typically think I am. Because for those who haven't met me in person, I'm 6'1", 275 pounds. I used to be a bodybuilder. I had the flat top, sort of marine cut. I have this sort of square jaw. I looked like I was that guy. And so people approached me like I was that guy. So I assumed I was that guy. I'm not. Big surprise. Now, when push gets to when there's a clock ticking and the heat is on, especially back in my tour managing days, I would revert to some of those dominant features because the job had to get done right now. I had to become that guy. But for the most part, I was this supportive little dove over here. Oh boy, doesn't that sound sweet? I was happy to find out that the majority of Fortune 500 CEOs are also a supportive dove. Okay, they are concerned about maintaining the status quo. They want to keep things smooth and operating and everybody steering the boat in the same direction. They're the leader at the front, not at the back, cracking the whip. That's who people want to work for. That's who are the successful leaders. So that's who I was. That's who I am. You'll find if you take this test, which I highly, 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 highly recommend you get this book. It's a super duper easy read. Again, I'm not going to take his information and just hand it to you, but we're gonna touch on it. This changed so many things for me that I took this 5-minute personality test, and that became page 4 of the All-American Pool Service job application. Pages 1 through 3, who are you, where'd you go to school, how many crimes have you committed, stuff I could care less about. You can light those pages on fire so long as you're legally allowed to work and pay your taxes in this country, and you are able to show up on time, and I can teach you the job. I don't care about the rest of this stuff. This page number 4 became Stephen, gotta get to the chopper. Page 4 became the most important page. This told me immediately, are you going to fit in with my team? Yes or no? Are you going to fit in with my customers, or are you going to butt heads with them? One of the hardest working and smartest employees I ever had, guy's still a good friend of mine. I could just show him something once, he's got it. I can now just wind him up and let him go. Here's your jobs for the day. Boom, he's off. The jobs are getting done. They're getting done right. They're getting done efficiently. But he was a very hardline D personality, and they tend to clash with the other personalities where I actually had homeowners calling me and say, that one guy you sent here today, could you please not send him here anymore? I don't like the way he talks to me. Sure, yeah, I guess I'll have to go there and do the jobs now. It's an unfortunate situation, but something you need to be aware of when you're hiring, but something you also need to be aware of when you are selling. I learned very quickly how to recognize these 4 different personality types, and I came up with this epiphany the other night while I was driving. The easiest way for me to explain the difference between a D, I, S, and C personality is by how you honk your horn. When you're in traffic and you're approaching a stoplight and the light is green and the guy in front of you is still sitting there on his phone, he hasn't noticed the light has changed yet, and you got to be somewhere and he's holding you up, what do? The dominant, direct type, he's laying on that horn. He does not have time for this nonsense. He is off and running. He's about to ram you. Okay? That's how he honks the horn. The influencer, or the parrot in the Taking Flight example, is like my mom. She's honking the horn, but she's loving life. Beep, 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 beep. Okay, she just had fun reminding this guy, hey, buddy, the light's green, let's go. Okay. Then there's me. I pull up. I'm the status quo. Let's keep things running smooth here, everybody. But you good over there? You good over there? Everybody cool? All right. I come up behind you. I need you to move, but I don't want to be rude about it. So I'm just like beep beep. I got your attention. You looked up. It wasn't aggressive. It was just beep beep. Cool. All right. That's how I honk. That's how the S types honk the horn. The conscientious types, they didn't honk the horn. They're too busy going 1001, 1002. Like they're making sure, oh, I'm not too close to this guy. I got to keep my distance. Somebody's applying the brakes over there. They're taking in every detail. They don't have time. They're not worried about honking the horn. That's the least of their concerns. There's other things that they're focused on. When you, this is an amazing testament to how personalities work. If you are the head of PR, let's say, internal PR for a huge corporation, thousands of people working in this company, and you need to send out an email to inform people that they had to move the light switch in the cafeteria from one side of the door to the other. You now need to tell everybody, thousands of people in an email, that information. How do you go about doing it knowing that your company has all four of these personality types in the company? There's an order of battle that you address them in. The first person you address is the direct dominant types with simple facts. The light switch in the cafeteria has been moved from the right side of the door to the left side. Period. Done. Nothing else matters. All they want is the meat and potatoes of what we're talking about. The influencers, the partiers, the happy people, and hey, it's going to be so much better now. It's a lot more convenient when we walk in there to just hit it with this hand as opposed to the right hand. Now the parents are like, oh, hey, cool, that's great. It's gonna be better now. Cool. All right, I'm good. The next person you need to address is the sensitive, the steady, the steadfast ones. If anybody has any issues or concerns about the new location, please feel free to reach out to us. Let us know. Give us some feedback. Okay, now they're satisfied. Somebody's looking out for that I'm okay with it. They're making sure I'm good. Okay, and then the last ones are the conscientious people who are actually reading the fine print at the bottom. This was only sent internally for people who work for this company, and if you got this email by mistake, you can unsubscribe here, blah, 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 blah. They're actually reading that. Okay, that is the order we address these personality types in. And now when we get to the home, and I tell this story a lot, and it's not to be sexist, it's just my own personal observations. When I'm in the backyard and we move from selling a liner or cover, renovation job, we move inside to the kitchen counter. That's when you know you're inner circle. It's happening. You're liked. You're trusted. You're there. They brought you into your home. One of the first things I would always do subconsciously, but I realize I do it, so I'm going to tell you to do it too. Look around. What do you see? What can you talk about in their home that is not about their pool or the product you want them to buy? You see a photo of the Giants Causeway on the wall. Oh, interesting, Giants Causeway. Did you know that the Led Zeppelin House of the Holy album cover, the photo shoot was actually taken there? My wife's been there and she told me this. That we're not talking about the job. We're not talking about the pool line. We're becoming friends. We're establishing a relationship here. And like Chris says, all major family financial decisions are made at the kitchen table. This is where we do our business. Sorry, Chris, I'm talking so much. I'm not reading all. You become a coach, not a boss. That's right. With the when you're the Fortune 500 CEOs being the steadiness as opposed to the dominance. You're a coach, not a boss. So I'm at the kitchen table, and typically, again, like I said, I'm not. This is not a sexist statement. This is just an observation. Typically, the husband was the dominant type. He's asking me questions. What's the mill? What's the warranty? What's the cost? When's it going to be done? All questions I can ask with or answer with quick numbers. He doesn't want to know anything except 27 mil, 25 years, $5,000, week and a half. Boom, done. He's out the door. He doesn't need to know anything else. I have now done this with him instead of this. We have connected. I'm talking to him the way he's talking to me because I recognize his personality, and we are now no longer just having a conversation. We are relating. We're feeling each other in a proverbial sort of sense. Okay? Perfect example. Oh my God, I was in a waiting room years ago, don't know what for, wasn't a very big one. There was a guy, and I believe his girlfriend or wife and I think her mother having a conversation about the father, whoever he was, his birthday was like tomorrow. The guy wanted to know what time he needed to have the birthday cake ready. That was his question. What time does the birthday cake need to be ready? The mother-in-law starts going, oh, well, first I've got to go get my hair done, and then I've got to get the groceries done, and we've got to... She's giving him a whole rundown of her day leading up to when the actual party would happen. And he cuts her off and escalates. He raises his voice. What time do I need to have the cake ready? Everybody in that waiting room, I can guarantee, was thinking, oh my God, what a jerk this guy is. Like, holy cow. And I knew immediately why that happened, because he was a dominant type and she was the exact opposite, and they did this. They butted heads. If she had just said 3 o'clock, boom, done. He's satisfied, he's happy, the job's getting done. He doesn't need to know anything else. He doesn't want to know anything else. He doesn't have time for anything else. Talk to that person, even though you're not that type of person, momentarily become that person, be that drill instructor, and just drive it right into them, and you're good. You've sold them. They're now in your pocket. Now, the lady of the house, and again, not being sexist, these are just observations, it could go any way, is going to be one of these other personality types, probably more on just on this side, the partier or the well, I'm looking at our patio, the color of our pavers, the color of our fence and the landscaping, and I want to go for this Caribbean feel. Okay, great. Let me switch gears from that direct dominant type to be more focused on your feelings and your needs. Caribbean type, let's talk tan liners. Let's get you a teal looking water. She's worried about the impact on the environment. Let's talk about non-recyclable materials. I need to talk to her completely. If I start throwing 27 mil, 25 years, I've lost her. I'm not selling her anything. I'm not relating to her. Okay, getting this book, reading it. You'll have it read in a week, but I don't have time to read. A chapter a night. Boom, it's done. Getting this test done for yourself, because the more you know about yourself, this book talks about how to take each of the personality types and transition them into other personality types temporarily to make this relation happen. You will find that your sales will increase. You will make more friends. Your relationships with significant others will increase, family, loved ones. It affects everything that you do, including how you get the most out of each one of your employees, because it's a reciprocity. I'm paying you. I need this much out of you, and you'll get more out of them if you know how to relate to them on a personality test. The car horns. I'm just going through my scrolling notes here. So that is huge. That is almost everything. We need to recognize the priority. No matter what the personality type is, a lot of times there is one priority out of our sales triangle that they're focused on the most. Sometimes, and I see this more with the above ground market because it's a different entity than the in-ground realm. Their priority is price. Okay. Luckily, we don't do above ground, so I don't have to try and be the cheapest guy in town. Let me tell you something: the cheapest guy in town is not long for this world. His reputation will not hold up in a court of law. We need to focus on other things. But if you walk in there, if you're talking to him like, yeah, so my daughter's 7th birthday, it's coming up in 3 weeks. We want everybody swimming. Can we get this job done before that? Obviously, their concern is availability. How soon can we have this job done? That's what I need to know. So that's what we focus on. That's what we focus on. If they're like, well, I want to make sure this is going to last. Our last, again, just going to liners because that's what I know. Our last liner only lasted 7 years. I need something that's going to last. Okay, let's focus on quality. Let's talk about mill. Let's talk about the design so the liner's not overstretched. Let's talk about non-recycled materials. Whatever their focus is, go grab the ball and run for daylight. Let's keep going in that direction. This sales triangle is typically, it's typically said that you get to choose out of the 3, you get to choose 2. You either get quality and availability, but you don't get a great price, or you get a great price and good quality, but it's going to take a long time. Typically, that's how it runs. Again, not to be brand specific, but luckily I work for a company where we can actually address all 3 of these: aggressive rebate programs, good pricing on safety covers right out of the gate, a competitive pricing on the bigger, more competitive liners. But availability, right now, liners less than a week, covers less than 2 weeks, quality all day, every day. We got it. Anyway, that's, again, I got to pay the bills here at Kayden, so I gotta throw that out there. But let's focus on what their priority is, knowing what their personalities are, and let's take them down that funnel to close the deal as their consultant. One of the things that we know as having done sales is that there's going to be objections. And again, if you get to a point where you're hitting a wall with objections, rewind. You did something wrong behind you. You haven't established yourself as their trusted advisor, as a consultant. You made a misstep on the meshing of the personalities. Something didn't trigger. Something didn't fire on all cylinders if you're getting objections. But we know for sure, this is a known fact within any kind of construction or any kind of work going to people's homes, that buyers are liars. Okay, you hand them that estimate for $5,000, and they're telling you, well, I got another quote that was $2,000 cheaper. Yeah, sure you did. Okay, and they always want to ask, why are you more than the other company? Okay, well, because I'm not here to sell, I'm here to consult. I need to inform you that is actually the wrong question for you to be asking. The right question is, what corners does company, Brand X pool liners or FML contractors, what corners are they going to cut on materials and labor in order to bring the job in at the price that they are quoting you? Okay, I've put together the highest quality products, the best labor. My warranty is clearly stated. I will back up, for a year, I will back up whatever job it is that I'm doing. And that's the best price I can get you with that. Any cheaper, and I can't do the job. It's plain and simple. So what corners are being cut elsewhere? So I tell you what, you have this quote that's $2,000 cheaper. As your trusted consultant, I would like to do this for you. You're actually doing it for yourself because you're calling their bluff. I would like to do this for you. I would like you to take our estimate, and I want to put it on the kitchen counter right here with all the other estimates you've got. I want to put them side by side and go through them item by item so I can compare apples to apples, show you what you are getting with Pools Are Fun and what you're not getting with Brand X or FML. This is where your estimates need to be on point. You've got to be on top of your game with your estimates, how you're putting your contracts together, with all those attachments we spoke about, everything broken down and itemized so they know exactly what they're getting. This is where we did the wow factor, but now we got to get the proof in the pudding. We got to put it to the test. We're going to put it side by side. Okay, so these contractors, they do contracts all day, every day. They know how to do contracts, but maybe they just took a CPO class for a couple days and think they can do pools now. Let's pick this apart. In the materials, vinyl liner. What's the thickness? What's the pattern? What's the this? What's the that? What's the what? They don't know. They're not steeped in this like you are. This is where you shut them down. Brand X pool liners. They know pools, but they're not contractors. They're not steeped in. They don't know what has to be on their contracts. They don't know what has to be what the state of New Jersey or whatever state they're in says that they've got to do. So you compare your estimate with theirs and pick them apart. What's their warranty? They don't know. They don't even list anything. Okay. This is your chance for them to go, oh, whoops, I don't actually have, I thought it was $2,000 cheaper. My mistake. It was actually only $200 cheaper. Yeah, I know. I'm familiar with all the competition in my area. I know that nobody's doing a liner job for $3,000 as opposed to $5,000. And these are not realistic quotes. These are numbers. I'm just throwing these, using example numbers for this example. Believe it or not, this is something I learned in one of the classes I attended. This price here, $49, $99, $95. I always thought that was like a joke. Like, who actually thinks that is not $5,000? So my pricing was always with All American, $4,500, $4,800, even $5,000. Then I took a class and learned that studies have shown there are a vast percentage of the population that will look at this $49, $99, $95, all these nines, and not register that that's $5,000. Okay, if it's printed in a book, it's got to be real, right? I read it on Google. It's got to be real. I went back and I changed all of our pricing to this $999.95 stuff. It kind of legitimizes things too. It's less of a made-up number and more of like, we actually put some math into this and figured out it needs to be this amount. And no, it's not $5,000. You think it's 4,000 and change? Whatever. That's why that's there. But at this point, guys, I mean, this is, you've gone through selling the invisible to get the phone to ring. You've gone through consulting and being, dropping tidbits. As you're doing this process, when you're talking poolside, when you're at the house, you're talking about the color of water. Well, water doesn't have a color, Jim. It's clear. Yeah, but we perceive it to be blue because it does this, and when it mixes with the color of the liner in the background, or the plaster, or the paint, or the fiberglass shell, or whatever it is that you sell, you're talking about stuff that is above and beyond the actual swimming pool. Tidbits of information like that people are just going, my goodness, this guy knows what he's talking about. Great example. And then I'm going to wrap this thing up. I had a customer call me. Their pool was green. They couldn't get it not green. I go to their house. Before I get started, I explain to them shocking the pool and what that actually means. They're like, yeah, we shocked it. No, you poured a bag of shock or granular chlorine in the pool. That's not shocking the pool. I explained to them what shocking actually was, superchlorination. I explained to them what breakpoint chlorination was and how we were going to break through that, and then our levels were going to drop, and then we're going to start going up. I gave them the full rundown based on the 180 pages of knowledge I had from being a CSP. And then I began the process of shocking the pool and then testing as we went and showing them what was happening. And as we're doing all of the physical stuff, the pool, the green, it's actually getting lighter. We're seeing a visual result from what I said was going to happen. Her husband calls, and the first thing she's like, "Hun, I just found our pool guy." Okay? Because I had that knowledge and that information to just hand to her, and I proved it, I was forever their pool guy. One of the funny things I used to do when it came to selling like a weekly cleaning service, I'd come and open a pool for a new customer. And they're like, "Hey, could you just give me a quick 101? We're new to, we just bought the house. We don't know what we're doing." No problem. I'll be happy to teach you real quick what you got to do every week, every day, whatever. And then I would proceed to drop massive amounts of information on them. And I would use chemical terms. Oh, when you've got a high chloramine count, you need to use that potassium peroxide monopersulfate. I didn't say oxyshock. No, I'm using the chemical terms, the big words, nomenclature. I'm making their head spin. I'm being a nice guy. I'm giving you this information that I had to earn. I had to pay for it. But I'm handing it to you, and they're going, "Whoa, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed right now. How much did you say it was to come every week?" "Yeah, just sign me up for that. That'd be great. Thank you so much. I love you. You're the best pool guy ever." Silly tricks like that, guys. Be the perceived expert. Learn their personality. Become their friends, even though you are a know-it-all. And make it happen. And on all those crazy notes, how we're doing on time? Hour and a half. Okay, so I didn't go as quick as I wanted to. If there's anything that you missed, if there's anything you need a copy of, especially if you're in New Jersey and you don't know what has to be on your estimates and your contracts, I have a list of that. But any other state that you're in, talk to your insurance agent and get that information. Not only is it going to protect you, but when it's on your contract and you get to that objection point where you have to lay out the estimates together, and yours is like ironclad and everybody else's is like wide open, you can point those discrepancies out and land more jobs just on your knowledge and expertise that way. Again, if you're having a bad day and you need a good laugh, I highly recommend you check out Kayden Manufacturing's YouTube channel. We're having a lot of fun over there. People keep asking me, "Jim, can you please put out more videos?" I love watching them. They're so fun. They're so funny. Yeah, if they weren't working so good, making the phone ring and me talking to new dealers now and onboarding them, I would have time to make more videos. But I swear at some point I will. Jim the Pool Guy now has a Facebook page. Come on over there. Shoot me a friend request. Great way to keep informed. But yeah, articles, pricing, examples of stuff. Anything you need, reach out to me. I'll get it to you. I'll be happy to talk to you. If you're not on board with Kayden and you want to get on board, reach out to me. We'll make it happen. We'd love to talk to you. We're hungry for new dealers. COVID was great to all of us. We've grown. Now things are slowing down a little bit, and I got to keep the crew downstairs busy. Okay, let's get some things going here. Before we wrap, the message screen is still open. If anybody has anything they want to add before we jump off here, I'm going to go back and take a look at some of the comments that my buddy Chris Leitenberg added. I had to talk to my son. Less tolerance for stupid people. Yeah, don't be stupid people. Yeah, all major family financial decisions are made at the kitchen table. If they bring you into that inner circle and you're at that kitchen table, you're in the final stretch. It is time to close that big renovation job. It is time to close the pool sale. That's the big meat. Objections are typically based on fear of making the wrong decision. Okay. One of the things I always made clear, and this went back to a personal experience I had with a buddy of mine who did some plumbing work at my house. I had him reroute some plumbing in my garage because I was finishing my garage to turn it into a rec room. Years later, I had him add a spigot to the back of my house. And at that time, he asked me, "Do you want a frost-free spigot?" I said, "Well, what? That sounds pretty good. What is that?" "Well, it's one that you don't have to turn the water off internally in the winter. It won't freeze." I said, "Yeah, of course I want that. That's what you put in the front, right? When you did all that plumbing work before I, drywalled and finished everything off." "No, I didn't mention it because I didn't think you'd want to spend the money." Of course I want to spend the money. I don't have to crawl into my crawl space to turn the water off every winter. I just want to not worry about it. The time to know all your options is before you commit and the job is done. When you are selling or consulting the job, make sure the homeowner knows all their options. Okay, you're putting options on the table that other companies did not put on the table. Okay, if it's an old rectangle pool, they've got no steps, offer them some steps. If you don't know about the Kayden Zip Step, reach out to me. Let's talk. Good money, easy job, makes you a superhero. Okay, give them all their options. That way they can remove the fear of making the wrong decision and putting up that objection wall. Break it down. Go through the options, explain what the options are, why they're options, why you might make recommendations. Okay, when it comes to the vinyl pattern, this is a whole other subject. Go to Atlantic City, go to my Vinylology 101 class Thursday morning. We'll talk about why you might want to pick one pattern at one pool as opposed to a different pattern in a different part of the country, a different amount of sunlight for whatever reason. All right, things to consider here. No other messages have come in, so I'm probably done at this point. I'm just looking at my own teleprompter here. Yeah, check us out. Reach out to me. Contact me. Guys, thank you so much for joining me and perceiving me as an expert in this subject. A lot of it's just stuff that I did with my own company that made us successful. Thank you for the applause there, Will. Sell the invisible. Marketing, again, is a whole different subject that we could talk 2 hours on. I have a lot of knowledge about that stuff. Maybe something we'll do in the future. But guys, thank you so much for joining me. I hope to be talking to each of you very soon. Anything you need, reach out, let us know. And I guess we'll wrap it up. Take care, everyone. Thanks so much.